0438 hours, Eastern Pacific Ocean, approximately 120 nautical miles west of California. The Pacific was calm, glassy, and deceptively empty. From the shoreline, nothing looked unusual. Cargo traffic moved along established lanes. Commercial flights traced predictable arcs across the sky. Weather systems were benign. No storms, no turbulence. But inside the Western Air Defense sector, nothing felt routine. A radar technician leaned closer to his screen. "Sir, I'm seeing a contact that doesn't belong." The duty officer glanced over. "Commercial? No transponder. Military? Negative. No IFF. Track is unusual." The officer stepped forward. "Show me." 0441 hours. First anomaly. The radar return was faint, intermittent, almost deliberately so. Altitude, above 55,000 feet. Speed, subsonic, steady. Flight path, parallel to the U.S. coastline. Too high for commercial traffic, too slow for a ballistic object, too quiet for a bomber. The technician swallowed. "It's riding the edge of our radar coverage like it knows where the gaps are." That sentence changed the tone of the room. 0444 hours. NORAD takes notice. The track was elevated instantly. Data fused from over-the-horizon radar, space-based infrared sensors, and coastal arrays. The picture sharpened. Still no transponder, still no identification. But the shape began to emerge. Angular, blended, optimized to avoid detection. The senior controller spoke quietly. "This isn't lost, and it isn't accidental." 0447 hours. Classification shift. An intelligence officer entered the room carrying a tablet. "Sir, we have a match to a known profile." "Whose?" The officer hesitated, just long enough to be noticed. "Chinese. Likely ISR, or multi-role reconnaissance platform. Modified airframe. Long endurance. A Chinese military aircraft, near California." The room went silent. 0450 hours. Red line. Approaching the aircraft wasn't crossing into U.S. airspace. Not yet, but it was testing boundaries, skirting the edge of the air defense identification zone, adjusting altitude, probing radar angles. Each maneuver was calculated. Someone said what everyone was thinking. "It's mapping us." The duty officer nodded, "and sending it home." 0453 hours. Scramble ordered. The authorization came quickly. "Scramble interceptors." On the runway at Naval Air Station Lemoore, engines roared to life. Two F-35C Lightning IIs taxied, then launched into the dawn sky, climbing fast. Above the Pacific, unseen to the intruder, the intercept was already forming. 0458 hours. The aircraft responds. As the F-35s closed in, the unknown aircraft changed behavior. It climbed, then turned slightly toward the coast. Not aggressively, provocatively. Its emissions profile shifted, tight beam transmissions pulsing briefly, then stopping. The intelligence officer's voice tightened. "It knows we've seen it." 0501 hours. Visual range approaches. The lead F-35 pilot spoke calmly. "Control, this is Viper 1. We have a faint contact. No markings. Configuration unfamiliar." The pilot adjusted his sensor feed. The image sharpened. Sleek fuselage. No visible national insignia. Engine intake partially shielded. Wings designed for persistence, not speed. "This thing isn't armed like a bomber," the pilot added, "but it's not civilian. Not even close." 0504 hours. Warning. Issued standard procedure. The controller transmitted on emergency international frequencies. Unidentified aircraft operating near U.S. airspace. This is United States Air Defense. You are advised to identify yourself and alter course immediately. No response. The Chinese aircraft maintained course, maintained altitude, maintained silence. 0507 hours. Escalation point. The aircraft made its most dangerous move yet. It descended slightly, just enough to improve sensor resolution, just enough to send a message. Inside the command center, the rules of engagement officer spoke. "Sir, if it descends any further, it crosses engagement criteria." The duty officer exhaled slowly. "It's forcing the decision." 0510 hours. Final warning. The transmission went out again, more forceful. "Chinese military aircraft, you are approaching a restricted defense zone. Turn away immediately." Still nothing, no acknowledgement, no course correction. The aircraft's nose remained steady, pointed parallel to California's coastline, watching, recording. 0513 hours. Authorization. The room was tense enough to crack. The senior commander looked at the live track, then at the legal advisor, then at the rules of engagement display. The aircraft had met the criteria, not for destruction, but for defensive action. He spoke clearly. "Authorize warning fire." No one argued. 05:15 hours. Fire opened. High above the Pacific, the lead F-35 rolled slightly and released a controlled burst, not aimed at the aircraft, but across its projected flight path. A message written in fire. The tracer streaked through the sky, unmistakable. The Chinese aircraft reacted instantly. It banked hard, dropped altitude. Its emissions spiked. It had not expected this. 05:16 hours. The unexpected. Before anyone could process the maneuver, alarms lit up across multiple screens. The Chinese aircraft transmitted something fast, encrypted, powerful. At the same moment, U.S. sensors across the region flickered, not failed. Flickered. The intelligence officer whispered, "Sir, this wasn't just a recon plane." The commander stared at the data. What was it? The officer swallowed. A platform designed to trigger something else. The Pacific sky remained calm. But beneath that calm, something had just been set in motion, and whatever came next was already airborne. 05:17 hours. Eastern Pacific Ocean. Off the coast of California, the moment the Chinese aircraft broke formation, the sky changed. Not visually, electronically. Across the western air defense sector, multiple sensor feeds began reporting anomalies. Radar returns stuttered. Data packets arrived out of sequence. Satellite relays experienced micro delays, fractions of a second, but enough to be noticed. Inside the command center, an analyst spoke first. That transmission wasn't distress. The duty officer looked up. What was it? A signal burst, highly directional, extremely short, a pause. It wasn't talking to us. 05:20 hours. Something else. Wakes up. Over the Pacific, the Chinese aircraft stabilized and leveled out, still inside international airspace, but now behaving differently. Its emissions had changed. The F-35 pilot noticed immediately. Control. The contact just switched modes. It's no longer passive. Clarify. It's acting like a node, like it's queuing something. The words landed heavily. Queuing meant the aircraft wasn't the end of the incident. It was the beginning. 05:23 hours. The hidden layer. Revealed deep inside NORAD's fused command network, a secondary alert triggered, one rarely activated. Subsurface anomaly detected. The room froze. A naval liaison officer leaned forward. "Sir, we're picking up movement patterns below the surface. Not submarines. Smaller. Distributed. Location? Directly under the aircraft's last position." The Chinese plane hadn't just been watching, it had been marking. 05:27 hours. The puzzle fits. A senior intelligence analyst pulled archived threat assessments onto the main display. "China's been experimenting with multi-domain trigger platforms," she said. "Airborne sensors that activate pre-positioned assets, underwater drones, seabed arrays, autonomous systems." She zoomed in on the track. This aircraft wasn't gathering intelligence. It was validating a kill web. The commander exhaled slowly. "And our warning fire completed its test." 05:31 hours. America moves first. The response was immediate, but invisible. A Virginia-class submarine already patrolling off the coast adjusted depth and heading. Its sonar operators began classifying faint, unnatural disturbances below. Multiple contacts, the sonar chief reported. Unmanned, low acoustic signature, moving in a coordinated pattern. Underwater drones. The Chinese aircraft had activated them, but activation worked both ways. 05:35 hours. The airspace locks. Down. High above, additional U.S. fighters entered the area. Not aggressively, not visibly. They simply occupied dominance. The Chinese aircraft suddenly found itself bracketed, above, below, and laterally, by aircraft it could not detect. Its pilot, or remote operators, realized it at the same moment. The aircraft hesitated, then turned away from the coast. Too late. 05:39 hours. The underwater standoff. Beneath the Pacific, U.S. Navy. Autonomous counter-drone systems deployed. No torpedoes, no explosions. Instead, directed acoustic pulses rippled outward, carefully tuned, surgical. One by one, the underwater contacts slowed, then stopped, then went silent. The sonar chief smiled grimly. "They're dead in the water." 05:43 hours. The Chinese aircraft falters. Back in the air, the Chinese platform began experiencing control irregularities. Telemetry degraded. Navigation drifted. Its signal bursts grew frantic, shorter, more frequent. Inside the command center, the intelligence officer spoke quietly. "They didn't expect us to see the whole picture." "No," the commander replied. "They expected hesitation." 05:46 hours. The message sent. Without firing another shot, the U.S. made its point. A secure transmission was sent, not to the aircraft, but to a known Chinese military coordination node. The message was brief. Your system has been identified. Your assets have been neutralized. This escalation ends now. No threats, no ultimatums, just reality. 0549 hours. China withdraws. The Chinese aircraft turned sharply west. Its altitude increased. Its emissions ceased. Within minutes, it was retreating, fast. Underwater, the unmanned contacts remained inert. The Pacific returned to calm, but everyone in the room knew the truth. This was not de-escalation. This was containment. 0556 hours. Aftermath reports flowed in. No damage to U.S. infrastructure. No civilian awareness. No public incident. Everything had been handled below the threshold of war, which made it more dangerous. The commander looked at the final summary. They tested us off our own coast, he said, and now they know what happens when they do. The Chinese aircraft had flown close to California to test a theory that America would hesitate. That warning fire would be enough to intimidate, but not enough to respond. They were wrong, because when U.S. air defenses opened fire that morning, it wasn't the start of a battle. It was the moment America decided to end one before it began.